There's so much money in the creator economy. However, the likelihood that everyone is going to be getting rich off of it is just statistically unlikely.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm professionally curious and I talk for a living, and you're watching Swell Entertainment, the channel where I tell you about whatever I'm obsessed with every week. And this week we have a couple of different things that I'm kind of once again pulling together. Someone asked me how I do that the other day, like another creator. It's like, oh, how do you like da 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 da? And I said, well, I'm too online. And I'm just kind of always, seeking more information. And then I remember what I saw a week and a half ago. And then I remember about an article I read a year ago or a talk I saw a year ago. And then some massive drama happens. And usually that's the catalyst to mold it around. But I want to talk about this concept of the creator economy, influencers having to get jobs, creators having to get jobs. And I'm going to be using influencers and creators interchangeably, I guess, but I want to first define influencers versus creators because I do consider there to be a difference. You can disagree with me. I do not think it's men are creators, girls are influencers. That's not how this works. I just think there's a lot of different things happening. First, this kind of is going to touch on the no influencer sign, which I did film a video about, and then I decided to nuke that video. But the no influencer sign on Nantucket, Jools Lebron, the very demure, very mindful creator that shared a video about putting up a GoFundMe to get funding for the dental work that she needed done and the subsequent fallout from that. Influencer fatigue as a whole, and the article from Vulture featuring Audrey Peters, You Can't Just Be Showing Matcha Pilates Aloe by Rebecca Jennings. Lifestyle influencers used to post cute photos and make millions. Now they have to pivot. There's a lot of different pieces coming into this, but also I want to talk about at the crux of this is influencers and creators having to get real jobs. Every creator that you are watching right now, right this moment, a chunk of them are going to have to get a job one day or work in a field that is maybe not a job, but they are going to work in a field that is not related to content creation. Statistically speaking, for every time an article comes out about how children want to grow up to be YouTubers, there is another study that is done about the likelihood of the career timeline and trajectory of a creator. I've talked about this a lot. If you go back to 2020 when my channel was first taking off, okay, I've been making videos for 12 years come October, okay, but I've been full-time since August of 2020. If you go back to those videos in that time and I talk about like, oh yeah, like why I was keeping my coffee shop job at the time and all this stuff, and I would have kept my coffee shop job longer if it weren't for the lockdown and how evil people got in Orange County during COVID. That was weird. Y'all were weird to service workers. If I ever bump into you in the street, I'll tell you that to your face. I don't care. That was weird in those videos. And since if you are a chronic watcher of Swell Entertainment, you'll know I make references to, I'm a YouTuber today. You guys could hate me tomorrow type of thing. And that's because I grew up watching YouTube. The first video I watched, I was like 11 or something. The people that I watched growing up do not make content now, or they're just not popular now, or they don't get the same amount of views that they do. They may have made their money and invested well and saved well, and now they can live off of those investments and such. But a good deal of them probably have a secret side job that you just don't know about, or they sold a book or two, or they're writing content for brands, or they are, pivoted to something else, and, that's how they make their money. Just fully don't post YouTube videos anymore is not 20. It's a lot. Also, YouTube just announced new monetization. TikTok's monetization seems like it changes on a dime. Twitch just announced all their AI stuff, which they've been doing. They kind of finally admitted that like Amazon's been doing this. So I was like, okay, good. I wasn't wrong, because I'm usually not wrong. I'm just early. That's typically what happens with me. But I want to talk about all these different things. A creator will post something and then it'll be like, well, why are you care about this? You're rich. And it's like, no, I'm not rich. I work at a smoothie shop. And they just they don't show you that part. So you don't see that part. I talk with you guys a lot that you guys see maybe 10% of my personality. You can think you know me, and you guys know a lot because I do overshare quite a bit. However, there's parts of my life you're never gonna see. And that's just a personal preference. I don't have to show you everything. I'm also not a lifestyle influencer. I'm a content creator where I talk to you about things that I'm obsessed with. And sometimes those things are dumb and silly. Like maybe you think this is dumb and silly, or maybe you're watching this because you are someone that is scared about the YouTube changing of monetization or the creator economy. I've had friends that are massive creators that have way more subscribers than me that have messaged me and they're like, how are you getting these brand deals? The brand deals, I had a conversation with my manager, a company I've worked with for years now, okay? Just had to terminate the rest of the brands, the ad spots for the rest of the year for me and numerous other creators. And I'm like, is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the industry is not changing, that the recession that we've all been talking about, that the government won't address, is in fact impacting every genre of life, including the influencer economy and the creator economy. For the sake of this video, let me explain, because I might use them interchangeably. I know I already said this in the intro and then I didn't finish it. Sorry, William. No, I feel like sometimes he just like, I don't know if he drinks or not actually, but sometimes I just picture like while he's editing, he's just like having his shots lined up for when I do something that annoys him. And he just slams one back. Relates like, oh, she did it again. For the sake of definition for you all, this is how I define creators versus influencers, okay? Because I do think there are two distinctions, but they are different. Everyone makes content. Everyone is making content, whether it's Instagram or YouTube videos, long form, short form, lifestyle content, science content. They're all making content, okay? The content is consistent. It's the Venn diagram. We got content in the middle, and there's going to be a lot of overlap in these middles. Creators can just make content, as are not required. Affiliates promoting of products is not required. Influencing is specifically influencing viewer behavior in some capacity. Now, creators can do this as well. Some of you say that I'm an influencer to you because of events, products, things like that I've talked about. However, it is like I'm influencing you with my lifestyle. So it's like, yes, it can be matcha Pilates aloe. It can also be outdoors. It can be fashion. It can be, science. It can be anything. But the goal is specifically influencing. And yes, it comes down to mostly you're going to see a lot more product placement, a lot more affiliate pushing, a lot more shop my links, a lot more brand deals, things like that. Not necessarily more curation, but potentially more curation. And for the most part, the influencer business model falls apart without brand intervention, i.e. brand deals, affiliate links, things like that. Okay. Like for the most part, a good chunk of anyone's brand's business now is brand deals. I've fought against trying to make a chunk of my income brand deals. It just happens. Okay. It's the reality of it, especially with the way that these platforms change their monetization and views change monetization. Brand deals, regardless, are going to become a large portion of it. However, creating and influencers, same as well, because TikTok, yes, as well. And again, influencers, you can be an influencer on YouTube. It doesn't matter. This is not platform specific, especially with the rise of short form. Instagram, I used to say it was like users and then influencers would be like the genre of what's happening over on Instagram. Because of the rise of short form content and reels, we now see a lot more content creators not just using it as like oh, look, I'm hot. Also, here's a photo of me with my dog for funsies to like further the fan engagement. It's now also a content pillar as well, not just, here's a photo here and there. Again, these are not platform specific things, okay? You could argue it's fan engagement. I think it comes down to the income sources. A larger pillar of the income sources for an influencer for the most part is probably going to be brand deals. And so that's where you might have influencers making more money than some creators that you know. Could I continue to be a YouTuber if I did no brand deals, period? Yes, things would have to change. You'd get far less event reviews. You'd get much more of these. The cost for these is my time, filming, and paying William. That's the cost for these videos, okay? The cost for videos for events, one, William gets a higher rate on those. And then also it's travel, it's hotel, it's the venue itself, it's feeding myself while I'm traveling and things like that. Those are the costs for that. So you'd get far less event reviews, But would you still get them? Yeah. I'm also in LA. I'm very fortunate that there's a lot of events around here. I would find a way to give you content. But the brand deals help supplement things, okay? Are there far less now? Yes. Is the channel going to nuke because there's far less now? No. Okay, relax. There's also far less events happening right now, so everything's fine and dandy. This article by Rebecca Jennings for Vulture. You can't just be showing matcha, Pilates, aloe. Lifestyle influencers used to post cute photos and make millions. Now they have to pivot. I also want to make the distinction here because I think some people think it's micro, major. For creators and influencers alike, you may think that because you watch me all the time, I am making millions of dollars. No. If you look at the views, the reality, money, things like that, it's not. The Financial Post here has an article that I found from last month that is by Melos Ambe. The creator economy has a new middle class. And this is not where I first heard the creator middle class. A friend of mine who's a professor actually brought this up to me the first time, which she said, it's like, no, you fall into what I would consider the creator middle class, which is probably where most creators that you watch, a lot of YouTubers are in this space. And they can be a full-time creator in the creator middle class. Are they buying a mansion in Lambo? No. So you can have people of all backgrounds prior to becoming content creators. I was a student and a barista, and I come from a broke family. I was broke that my junior college didn't charge me for classes. You also may have some people that do have come from more comfortable families that have more money that can end up in the creator middle class, but then also with the size of influencing, you don't have to come from money to be an influencer. That's another thing that I've seen spoken. Depending on the type of influencer that you want to be, it can be helpful to come from money because you can do the upfront cost, as I said, of the promoting of products and buying things and funding everything before you start getting free stuff. Free stuff also hurts the bank a little bit less in the sense of, you can't pay your rent with free stuff. But if you're not worried about paying your rent, or if you come from money and you always have a place to go back to, the free stuff is going to be much nicer than just like, okay, thanks for the free stuff. The business might just form differently if you have startup money. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to talk about this because this article focuses on Audrey Peters. In a comically spotless white kitchen on a Tuesday in June, Audrey Peters is filming her latest hit TikTok series, a compilation of all the food delivery she orders in a day. I deliver almost every single meal, almost every single day because I hate to cook and I'm incredibly lazy, she says with a practiced self-deprecating laugh to her camera. Propped against the wall as a portable LED light bathes her in a warm glow. It is 10:15 a.m. and my first delivery just arrived, and it's my Starbucks coffee. The coffee, an almond milk iced latte with cold foam, 2 pumps of vanilla, and a pinch of cinnamon cost $25.18. When I really want to rage bait, I'll order coffee. People get so mad at me. She tells me the Starbucks, after all, is only 3 blocks from her apartment, and most of the time she grabs it while walking her dog, an English cream miniature dachshund named Linguini. She explains it's been a while since she's made a DoorDash video, and I just really want to ensure good performance. After reshooting and opening a few times, she's finished with the segment. I don't need the coffee anymore, she announces. Would you like it? Sometimes I watch videos and I'm like, I know they're fucking with me. I know it. I know I'm being fucked with. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. I'll have all the articles linked down below as normal, but I want to skip ahead a little bit here. Though she abandoned the blog shortly after college graduation, her second era began when she, like a lot of people at the start of the pandemic, joined TikTok and made front-facing comedy videos like what your New York City neighborhood or favorite designer or brunch spot says about you. After 2 years, the jokes started to feel overdone. I just genuinely couldn't make one more joke about Murray Hill. That's when I realized, she says, I'm going to have to constantly adapt and rebrand. Since then, Peters has found a niche posting about luxury. Her worldwide search for a specific color of Chanel sandals went viral in 2022. And she'll often share come along with me videos while securing Hermes appointments in Paris and browsing Pucci in Saint-Tropez. But like clockwork, after 2 years, something shifted. She used to get millions of views for her shopping videos. These days, she says, maybe on a good day, I'll get like 300K. Luxury got stale, people got bored, and perhaps they felt resentful watching influencers show off her free PR and designer hauls when they couldn't afford groceries. Enter the DoorDash series. Its success is not a mystery. When she published her first video in April, in which she ordered 4 separate meals for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert, the 760 comments were a mix of shock and despair, calling her wasteful and out of touch. People were calling my manager and being like, oh my God, so many people are making videos about it. Do you care? And I'm like, no, this is exactly what I wanted. What she created was greater than one-off viral hit. It was an easily repeatable gimmick that she could serialize for guaranteed views. It was completely strategic, she says. Your goal is always to hit a new For You page. Views are always going to change. I have a few friends right now that are dealing with a plateau, which I've talked about previously. Plateaus are extremely common in the creator space. Algorithms change without them making announcements. Things change without making announcements. Your viewership changes without making announcements. Sometimes people just age and grow. And so you're constantly having to find new people. That's just the nature of things. Some of you have been watching me since, by your own admission to me, 2018. Statistically, all of you can't have been watching me that long, just for the record. Some of you never watch me anymore, but you subscribed in 2020, and then you find me on TikTok and you're like, oh my God, I used to watch your YouTube videos. Thank you. If you would like to watch them again, they're here. Things change and adapt and grow, and it can be frustrating, especially when you have become a full-time creator. For me, it started like 2021 when I just moved out of my dad's place. I was finally a full-time creator, first full year, and things went down, and I was like, ooh. And it worked out. I figured it out. I kept costs down. I moved into a place that was very affordable for me. And a lot of creators that you probably were watching during lockdown that maybe didn't grow on YouTube but grew on TikTok and didn't pivot or didn't do anything else. Maybe they're God, I saw one where they're working at Best Buy now. You know, a lot of them didn't go and get regular jobs or never left their jobs if they were lucky to not lose one during lockdown. That was the nature of a lot of people during lockdown. I left because I was like, I'm going to slip into a deep, dark depression if I don't leave. But a lot of people didn't leave their jobs to become full-time TikTokers. They had no choice because they lost their jobs due to the pandemic. Everyone's circumstances for going full-time creator is different. And this is one thing that I always share and no one ever listens to me. And then I see it on TikTok and it drives me insane. Do not leave your job at a follower count or a subscriber number. Never leave your job at a follower count or subscriber number. Do the math. Have a money total number that you need to be hitting to cover all of your expenses and more. Okay? Once you hit that consistently, I would say 3 to 4 months in a row. That can change at any time. But with the extra money, you can save that away a little bit and not be an idiot. I'm saying idiot in the kindest of way possible. You know what I'm saying. I'm not calling you an idiot. I'm saying you should, don't be stupid, you know, keep it simple, stupid, that whole thing. Once you get to that point, then you can consider leaving your job, but be warned, as soon as you do, the likelihood that things are going... Sorry, I think I'm funny and that's the important thing. People are like, oh, I had a viral video, I'm quitting my job. Drives me insane. You may make $40,000 from that video. Likely you won't, okay? But if you get a lot of opportunities from that video and, you know, you get money from that video and then the next video post you make some money like that, you're like, oh my God, I'm set. This is perfect. I got this amount of followers. I'm making money now. I'm doing all these things. This is amazing. Fuck the coffee shop, you know? And that is usually where people get panicked because then they're like, oh no, I need to chase that. I need to keep chasing that. And then they crash and burn and they burn out. And then now, things are bad. Hi. Also, if you made content relating to your job or school, anything like that at all, and you choose to quit to be a full-time influencer or creator, you're going to lose a part of your audience because they probably followed you for the fact that you had that cool job or you were in a cool program and you made study content or anything like that. Also, the reality is that if you, like me, grew up without money, having a lot of money all of a sudden does not fix all of your problems. I won't lie. Making more money fixed a lot. Being able to live on my own, being able to finally get therapy, being able to eat better, being able to get Hermes, okay, and have a dog that is my dog that loves me and causes me great anxiety so I can't have my regular anxiety. I'm not going to tell you that those things were bad things, okay? I'm not going to tell you that making more money was not a good thing. However, because I never dealt with my own anxieties around money, my own beliefs around money, just the reality of growing up broke and then suddenly having more money than a lot of my friends were making, some of my friends combined were making, I got a smidgen irresponsible. It's not even just the lifestyle creep. The lifestyle creep didn't help things. I just like expensive shit. And I'm bad at telling my inner child and inner teenager no, because I was in survival mode for so long. I also just like a lot of good food. That also didn't help things. And it's like, oh, well, I don't feel bad about spending money on food. And it's like, do you need to be getting Cacio e Pepe 3 times a week? No, the answer is no. Historically, okay, like in the last decade, okay, there's at least 5 or 6 articles that I have read. And I now see articles and videos and exposés titled, I went into X amount of debt trying to be an influencer. And I'm supposed to be surprised that that's a thing that happened because my personal credit card debt has nothing to do with being an influencer. It partially has to do with, before I started my S Corp and my finances became separated because when I was self-employed still and not, getting paid by my S Corp, there was commingling of funds because I was self-employed, okay, for Swell Entertainment. So events, products, all of that all went onto personal credit cards and my personal debit cards. And so then when I separated everything, I didn't zero out all of those, which is dumb and stupid, dumb. And I should have zeroed those out. That started the problem because those just had decent chunks of balances on them. And then suddenly I moved into this apartment. You guys are going to start seeing this get a little more barren. I'm leaving this apartment. It's just that this apartment is arguably too much money. That's just the reality of things. If you don't deal with that, if you bring on too much the lifestyle creep of creating content and becoming a creator and, moving to a big city, moving to a better place, moving to a safer place, things like that, making your situation better because your situation has been objectively ass, that comes with spend, and that can impact where your money is going. And then now when you are making all this money, you think you're going to always make this money. And that's mostly not the case. Things change. Let's talk about Jools Lebron. So Jools Lebron, as I said, I've actually talked about Jools, I think around the same time as Very Demure, Very Mindful, because another creator tried to say that they owned the word demure. I followed Jools since then. Jools has talked about how she was a drug addict. I believe she's currently clean. But when she made all of her money from Very Demure, all these different opportunities very quickly, and that helped fuel her addiction, and it didn't help, get her clean. It helped, it's common in addicts. I am a child of addicts. Hi. For those who don't know, I'm the child of an alcoholic that I don't speak to, but it's something that I have to be aware of because I have an addictive personality. And big highs, big lows, you get urges. Okay. And there it's like, oh, this euphoric feeling. Let me continue feeling this. I now have this opportunity. I can go do this. Same with my spending. Some people it's with drugs. Some people it's alcohol. Sometimes it's sex, etc. There's plenty of things that you can become addicted to. Her teeth are rotting because of her prolonged drug use, it sounds like, based on her own admission, rotting from the root down. Okay. She has now been pursuing a dental journey, and she posted a video saying that she was told she's on an uphill battle. She has already spent about $6,000 to work on her teeth, and that they're just basically putting Band-Aids on the problem. And what essentially needs to happen is that Jools needs about, in total, $45,000 to get to the state that she would like to be at. In which case, it sounds like it's extraction, a root canal, if not more, and then implants to get teeth, which is expensive, okay? And so Jools made this video, and I watched it. She took it down. I watched a re-upload.
My teeth are falling out of my head, and I need your help. I'm gonna eventually have to take out all my teeth, and I've already spent $6,000 on this. So I don't know what else to do. I don't want to ask my community for help, but I feel like I have no other choice at this point. I would love to go get a regular job. Girl, don't get me wrong, but even then, I don't think that that's going to help my situation. Not in a dismissive kind of way, I'm streaming every day and it's becoming very successful. I've gained a good amount of followers over just a matter of weeks. But I know that it's gonna be a few months until that's stable. And I wanted to fix my teeth on my own, but I can't go on like this. Every day it hurts. It hurts to drink water. It hurts to drink water, girl. I have a hole on each side of the upper side of my teeth, and it hurts. All my teeth are moving, and they hurt all the time. And I'm just tired of being in pain.
And she's very clearly distraught in it. And one line in it, she's explaining why she doesn't want to, but she is making a GoFundMe for this money. Now, I never saw this GoFundMe. People said that some people did, in fact, give money to it. And before it was taken down, those people have apparently been refunded. But in that video, what really upset a lot of people is Jools says the words, I could go get a job, but that's not going to help me. And I think multiple things can be true simultaneously. This sparked a bajillion and one conversations about this. Some people, especially once the video got taken down, said that Jools actually said, now I've seen this video, Jools did not say this, but said that Jools said, don't bother telling me to get a job, that won't help me. That's not what was said. Okay, I do think wording matters. And Jools is not wrong. If Jools goes and finds a job tomorrow, not often do you get healthcare and dental, okay? Oftentimes insurance kicks in after a set period of time. Some people said it's $45K for a root canal. Not to my knowledge. I believe the $45K comes into the fact that the implants that Jools wants, my understanding is that that's mostly classified as cosmetic. Insurance doesn't cover that for the most part. I could be wrong. I'm not an insurance expert. Those things are real, okay? We can talk about healthcare in this country, which is how this also, why are we ripping into Jools and we're not talking about how it costs $45K for a root canal? It's not what it costs. But yes, we can talk about how vision, dental, and healthcare are all separate forms of insurance when everything is connected. I just think if I have to own all of them, they should be covered in one thing if we're going to be going private healthcare, okay? Personal opinion, healthcare for all, dental included. That's a conversation that's happening. I don't think that's, and it doesn't mean that it's not true, that we shouldn't be having those conversations. There was going to be a big court case happening involving healthcare. A plea was made, a discussion was had. That's also at top of mind right now. There's also the reality of Jools has, I believe, 1.2 million followers on TikTok. And some people think that that means a lot of fucking money. There's also a lot of other financial details here with Jools that she has shared. Not too long ago, she bought a $2,000 doll in like a whole thing for a video, posted about buying expensive wigs. Again, not too long ago, TV show appearance where she talked about how Demure changed her life. She was getting brand deal offers for like 25 to 45K, massive amounts of money, okay? She also did something that, I know some people don't like this, but she bought a like multi-unit property with some of the money that she got from this time, okay? Smart on its face. She has put up most of her family in the units though, and it sounds like they are not paying for anything by her own admission. In the fallout of all of this, she even, in a video where she posted where she was crying, she made a comment about them still wanting like the $3,000 or something like that as long as she keeps paying the $3,000. I don't know if that's her mortgage rate or what. That is also leading to people being like, okay, well, if you need this money, then why don't we start selling some of these items? Why don't we start tackling the fact that your family isn't paying to live in the building that you own, if that's the case? Apparently, she has, on occasion prior to this, made GoFundMes for various things. I need help. People have then given money. Those videos have then been deleted. Then there was the live stream after the video was initially taken down. When it comes to Jools' video, I do think that it's very clear that Jools is in pain. You can't do anything without your teeth. Once you get into your teeth, all of that, this can impact your health. Something that a lot of people talk about when they are dealing with poverty is that one thing you skip often is dental care. And then over time, that can lead to more health issues when you do start making money or are able to access dental care, is that it actually led to a whole host of other issues. I think when you're experiencing chronic pain from, your teeth literally rotting out of your head, I think that you get a little desperate. And it sounds like that's where Jools got to, because she said that she had someone lined up that was going to fix her teeth for free. And then for 2 months, she was trying to get things together, did not work out. And so this was her last option. And then she did go on live once this video was taken down. I think the clips that I saw and the bit of it that I tuned into, it seemed a lot of cope, which understandable. When you're being canceled, when you're being called out, the world gets small. And this feels like the biggest thing in the world, okay? And especially when your ability to make money relies on people watching your content and liking you, that is not an irrelevant feeling to be in.
Did you see her trending on TikTok? Because people, yeah, I saw, girl. Trust me, I saw. I saw! I mean, at the end of the day, listen, the people that donated, they got their money back. I'm gonna get new teeth. I feel like we all won. And if bonus points, I'm kind of hitting the algorithm. Sorry, it's true.
Basically, Jools was like, it worked. Someone is paying for my teeth. So someone did step up and was like, either I don't know if someone's paying for it or someone is offering to do it for free. But she also talked about the job comment. And it does seem like she kind of leaned into what the comments were talking about like, don't tell me to get a job. It's not going to help.
But it's also like, I don't need a job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have a job. I just can't afford a $45,000 implant. I think that doesn't mean I can't afford my daily bills. I think if you can't afford something that's $45,000, you know what? Maybe that just means that, right? And then also, have you ever been an internet celebrity and tried to get a job? Okay. like you've never been in that position. Why are you gonna tell me how to go get a job and you've never been in that position? I don't think I'm above getting a job. I should go get a job. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. If I couldn't get a job before, very demure because of my social media presence, because they were like, it's a conflict of interest. At triple the size of that, do you think that that's more feasible? I'm not above getting a job. If you're interviewing, I'll go. I'm not above it. I'm not above working a 9 to 5. I'll work a 9 to 5. But it's not likely to happen. Like, it's like they're gonna oh, Jools Lebron. Oh.
Have you ever tried to get a job in like when people know who you are, celebrities know who you are, you walk outside and people know who you are? And I don't think that's something that we can discount, because that is something that is a reality for a lot of creators that will, at some point, just like I said, a chunk of you will have to get jobs at some point that are watching this. It's something you're going to have to think about. When I worked at the coffee shop, and before YouTube was my full-time job, when I was still like 6,000 subscribers, just something I did once in a while, I didn't tell people that I was doing YouTube. Some of my coworkers found it. And even right before YouTube took off, someone came to my work and was like, I watched your videos, and was trying to follow me to my car. When YouTube did take off, some people came in and started asking about me. Now, this was during masking, so I was able to be like, oh, crazy, okay. And I had to make statements being like, hi, if you find out where I work, do not show up. It's something you do have to think about once people know who you are. It's something that may not be impactful. It may not be a big deal. It's just something it's not gonna be like, oh, I can't work front of house because of X, Y, and Z. It's just something you should alert people, I think, if you're getting a job, okay? Now, as far as creators getting jobs goes, there's a variety of different types of jobs. Not everything is customer facing. I think a lot of people thought, like I said, the smoothie shop, you don't have to go work at a smoothie shop. And as someone that is considering the possibility of getting another job that is nothing relating to content purposes, for me, it's less so money. I know I'm talking about the credit card debt, but I'm not worried about that. I'm working on that. For me, it's less money, and it's more so my brain. All of this, okay, I think we can chalk up to this phenomenon that is not a proven phenomenon. It's just something that I've personally witnessed of being to online. Maybe you've witnessed it as well. I call it influencer brain rot. And it's the concept that when you stop having, like, say, a regular job and your whole job becomes being an influencer or being online and scrolling and taking photos of yourself, posting photos of yourself, looking at how people talk about you and, oh, everyone loves me. Oh my God, this person hates me. How dare they? You kind of stop losing perspective. You start losing your ability to think critically about most things, let alone things that can impact you or directly impact you. This is where I see some creators, things where it's like, yeah, this was not a problem, but now you've made it a problem. And now we have the Barbra Streisand effect, where now there's all these eyes on the problem. We see this with YouTube as well, where it's like, this creator is ripping off my editing style, which is like a tear paper, and then suddenly they're diving into that person. It's like, yeah, that wasn't a problem. And now they're looking at the fact that you're kind of a shitty person, you know, like it gets to you. The fact that your friend posted a matcha photo when you posted a matcha photo a week ago that got a lot of views, and it's like, oh my God, how dare she also, she is so trying to steal matcha from me. What are we talking about? I'm very aware of that concept, and I'm more focused about that because I'm very fortunate. I have made going outside and talking with strangers and going to events that I'm not the part of the subculture about part of my content. And therefore, I think that helps a bit. I also read quite a bit. However, I do think that having a job where I am not on social media whatsoever as like a part-time thing would be good. Now, I am also considering, because I want to go back to school. However, that's not happening. Thinking about certification and trades more than anything, because I do think going into the trades, I think I'd be killer at that. Tell me you can't see me as a home inspector. I do think I'd be a killer locksmith too. That's for me. It's mostly for my brain. It's to get me offline more than anything. That's where I'm at, okay? That's how I am personally looking at potentially moving away from being, perpetually glued to this fucking thing. That's one reason why a creator might want to get a job or start doing other things, is because they're worried about making their content their job mainly. And that's something that I've actually spoken to a lot of creators about. It's more so like, they're like, no, I want to maintain my joy and whimsy of making content, so I'm going to keep this so that this is still fun for me. There's also plenty of creators that do have regular jobs. You just don't know about it. You just assume they don't. And then so like you'll see them and it's like, oh my God, you had to get a real job. And it's like, no, I've had this. Also that concept of, oh my God, you had to get a real job. People are seen as failures when they have to do another job or decide to do another job for whatever reason. And that's something that I also think needs to be discussed here, because not everyone can be an influencer or a creator or an entrepreneur. And it's not even like I'm trying to gatekeep. You and I could make the same fucking type of content. You could go to the same exact event and walk around together. We'll make 2 different videos, because my brain is my brain and your brain is your brain. And the way that we introduce content and do content is going to be different, okay? Unless you're inside my brain hole, we're not going to make the same type of content. And that's fine and dandy. I'm good. I'm locked down. I don't use AI. We're chilling. I want to make it very clear. I'm not trying to gatekeep shit. And this video is going to be longer than I thought it was going to be. Sorry, William. I really did think this was going to be tight. I do think that the influencer brain rot, and I'm not accusing any of these people of having influencer brain rot. I just think that this was not that big of a deal. And I think if anyone could step back from themselves and look at the situation, this would have helped. The no influencer sign in this little antique store in Nantucket, I saw that and I thought it was a very clear joke, like, oh, haha, no influencers. And it's like, I've seen articles of people talking about the creator and influencer influx in Nantucket and how that's annoyed people. The amount of people that made videos saying that that sign was anti-women, similar to being homophobic or racist. Influencer is not a protected class. I'm sorry. I don't know if anyone needs to tell you that. That's crazy. Okay. And I think that stepping away from the phone once in a while and stepping away from the likes and the Facetune and Photoshop and all of that, okay, and just taking a breather, putting it in the group chat. That all those videos should have just gone in the group chat first. Hell, I think every creator and influencer should have a group chat of your real life friends that are not online. And when you think you're getting insane, you go to that group chat. Hi, can you tell me if I'm being crazy or if I'm right and this is angering or upsetting or whatever? And you may have to over-explain your job a little bit. It happens from time to time, but they'll tell you if you're being psychotic or not. Okay, if they love you, which they should. That's how your friends should be. That's what needed to happen. Okay, because especially I do think, yes, creator friends are good so people understand your job. Okay, especially if you have same interests. I do think there's a difference between content friends and real friends. Not to say that all content friends are not also real friends. I have plenty of real friends that are also creators. But there's a lot of surface level friendships in this industry. And sometimes people don't realize that they are surface level friendships until something like this happens, in my opinion. As far as the jobs things go, there's also plenty of jobs that you as an influencer, as a creator, especially if you have had a viral moment, a successful career, even for a year, that you can parlay into. The amount of beauty companies, small beauty companies, marketing companies, companies in general that just need a content creator person on staff is not zero, okay? And they would love to work with a creator because you have the insight of a lot of times working with these companies that they want their brands to go viral on. Probably talk to someone at TikTok, someone at YouTube, someone at Instagram. You have experience with working on successful campaigns. You probably have the expertise that a lot of these people want to have in their wheelhouse. And you being a recognizable name is actually a positive. There's going to be brands that are going to hate it. There's going to be companies that are going to hate that you are a creator when you try to get another job. That's okay. That's not the job for you. Now, in the current job market, it's not super easy to just go get a job. I do think that if you are a creator or an influencer, you can just go get a job slightly easier. Yes, there's going to be jobs that aren't going to want you, but as I said, there's going to be jobs that are going to be like, oh my God, wait, you want it? You ever made a pitch deck? I do think that that is the case for some brands. Now, as I said, some of these companies do not want to work with these people, and that's okay. That's going to be the case. But the likelihood that you, at some point, even if you are successful, a creator today, unless you are investing immediately, saving immediately, which I did, it just disappeared. The investments are fine, but the savings, you're going to have to change things or pivot, or you're going to have to get another job or a part-time job. This happens a lot too. People think once they get to a certain follower count or a subscriber count or a money count, all of their personal issues, their mindset, their depression, their anxiety, they think that as soon as they hit these milestones, that's all going to be fine and they'll be better because they're making more money. And then you see them crash and burn when they get to that point and they realize that that's not the case and they are still deeply unhappy because they never dealt with the issues that they had that were chemical, trauma related, what have you, and they thought this will make things better. You can get to that benchmark and still realize that you're miserable and also, hey, this wasn't goddamn worth it. And now you're done. Now you might be more recognizable, but you have to have a job. It's not healthy for a lot of people. We see people end up in jail. We see people end up on medication. We see people end up in therapy. I'm pro therapy, okay? There's no retirement plan for content creation. There's no retirement plan for influencing. It is all on you. And so I don't think that means that there needs to be a retirement plan. I like being able to be a free little goblin when it comes to YouTube, okay? When it comes to TikTok, I personally like that. I know a lot of people would like more structure and have it be more like a regular job. I personally prefer it to not do that so that I get to be a little bit of an asshole Fan funding is a big part of the creator economy, and it's something that I prefer to do passively, and that is channel memberships. I don't like being like, hi, buy, give me money. Every day I get emails from random vibe-coded AI companies. Get out of my inbox. And telling me how I can monetize my audience further, okay? And I'm like, I do that already. And that's with you watching this video. Things are going to change over time. Things aren't going to last forever. At a certain point, you're going to get sick of me. Doesn't matter what I do. There's going to become a time where I don't want to post every Tuesday. There's going to become a time where I decide, I'm kind of over it. I want to do something else. I want to do X, Y, and Z. This other thing is taking up too much of my time. You know, that's just the reality of being a creator. At a certain point, you burn out, the content burns out on you, your audience burns out on you, and you can continue to pivot and continue to find new audiences and keep the life cycle going, or you build systems to make it more reasonable. You still love what you're doing. Or at a certain point, you decide, you know what? Let me go put my resume in. And also, side note, when you are putting in your resume at these places, you have not been unemployed for X amount of years, okay? You've been self-employed. I am talking too much. My camera's going to die. I will have these articles linked down below so that you can see them. But basically, monetization is changing. Brand deals are changing. Creators are going to have to pivot and adjust and move into rage bait content, i.e. what Audrey is doing. Or you're going to have to start seeing creators get more creative with money. That's where you see some people start doing things like OF or the like. Or you're going to start seeing people get regular jobs. Also, like I said, people make way different money than you would think. I could keep talking about this topic for hours. Maybe I'll keep this conversation going on Twitch after this video comes out. We'll see. What are your thoughts on influencers and creators doing mutual aid, like sharing a GoFundMe for various things? What are your thoughts on the income of influencers and creators? What are your thoughts on influencers and creators getting jobs? Please do not out anyone that you know. If you know where they work, shut the fuck up in my comment sections. Do not out anyone where they work. If you know someone who works and you've seen them at work, do not out them. Do not do that. Do not make my comment section a crime scene. Okay. Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder to you on Twitch. Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to Girly Pop Go if you'd like some more car and motorsport content. John, my channel members, thank you so much for supporting my channel memberships. Also, explore my channel memberships. You can join down below. If there's one on social media, they'll be up here. And that's me. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I don't know what was that. There's a lot of money in the creator economy. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, okay? But there's a lot more people that are in the creator economy making that money. And so the average and the minimum is going to be lower than it used to be.